this film was, just the discussion about cancer in general and what causes cancer. I think probably every person in this room has been touched by cancer in one way or another, whether with yourself or a loved one, someone that you know. It's ubiquitous in our society now, and I think for a long time we talked about cancer being mostly genetic, but actually only 5 to 10% of cancers are genetic in origin, which means that the other 90 to 95% have some other cause. So although I hadn't heard Sandra's story regarding her cancer, it's not surprising to me that her family history of bladder cancer was related even though she was adopted. When we think about genes, I kind of think of them as, like if you think of a very complex manual, like, how to fly a rocket ship. Your genes are like the manual, the book that tells you all the different steps you take in order to get from point A to point B. But that's only 5 to 10% of the story. What's more important is what causes that book to open and tell you what page to read. We call that epigenetics, or the things in the environment that tell the genes how to respond. And that's what we're talking about in this room. That's what our molecules in our environment are, is they have epigenetic impact. It's what tells the enzyme in the frog to turn testosterone into estrogen. What causes that enzyme to turn on? That changes the environment. And these things are even more potent than our genes because they control our genes. And so it's so important, not just for cancer, but for autoimmune disease and for my area of specialty, which is fertility. I'm especially amazed because if you look back in the literature, medical literature, in 1930, a normal sperm count was 140 million sperm per milliliter. Today, the normal sperm count is 20 million sperm per milliliter. So any man alive today that's normal would have been told they were infertile in 1930. This is one generation, and we're seeing these humongous changes in human health that we should all be very concerned about. And that was one of the things that really was poignant to me, was when Sandra was talking about this is a human right to be able to live in a world where you don't have to be worried that your breast milk is contaminating your child and harming your child. And I absolutely agree. And that was really kind of a poignant piece to me in this film.